So I've got one of my favorite shirts on today. It's messy, but it's because I was painting today, so we're working on things. But I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Stand up for you. So I tried it at home, and that's who I am. I love to see things and kind of what's out there and try it for myself. Watching YouTube and trying to figure out how do we do it. And those shows, they're like always saying, well, don't try this at home because you can get hurt because you're not a professional, and there's certain limitations, certain things that you've got to recognize. There's just no way I can do it. And I think often that's the problem that we have. We forget who's in control. We forget who has the power. And that's where we're at today in our reading, 2 Kings chapter 19. The king of Syria is coming against Judah, the southern tribe, right? Israel has been overtaken by Assyria and is no longer a nation. They've been transported, exiled by the king of Assyria, and he's here and he's telling them, hey, I'm gonna beat you guys up. I'm gonna take you out. And God himself has anointed me to do it. Then he goes on and he sends a letter. And that's what we see in 2 Kings chapter 19. He sends a letter, and again tells the king of Judah and tells them, hey, who are you trusting in? Who is it that you think can help you? The God of Israel didn't help the Israelites. He's not going to help you. And God's response is very interesting. He responds through the prophet Isaiah. And this is what he says in verse 22, 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 22, ESV version. Whom have you mocked and reviled? Against whom have you raised your voice and lifted your eyes to the heights? Against the Holy One of Israel. Who do you think you're talking to is what he's saying. You're talking to the children of Israel. This is, again, the tribe of Judah. You're talking to this tribe. They're still my children. And you're talking about me, right? And you think that you've got it under control. You think that you tried it at home and it worked before, so it's going to work again. And you think you are just everything, And what's interesting to me is if you go down a little bit farther, verse 25, this is what God continues to tell the king of Syria. He says, hey, who is it that you're speaking against? But he says this, have you not heard that I determined it long ago? I planned from days of old what now I bring to pass, that you should turn fortified cities into heaps of ruins. God says, hey, king of Assyria, understand this. I figured it out long before you were even born, that I was going to use you to do my will throughout the earth. Now you're coming against me like you think you're something. Like you think you've got it all, right? That you're able to go home and do it and you're going to be okay. He said, you've got to recognize who's in control. And Christians, Life Church at Easton, understand what God is telling us through these scriptures. God has got it under control. Those people that speak against us, those people that persecute us, those people that don't like us, those people that come against us, those people that laugh at our faith, laugh at why we go to church and why we pray and why we read our Bible and why we tithe and why we do what we do. Those people that laugh at us, understand they're not laughing at us, they're laughing at God. And therefore, it is God's responsibility to go and seek justice. It's God's responsibility to go and get revenge. It's God's responsibility to fight the battle, to fight the war, but our responsibility to allow God to move in our lives and to continue to go forward. The king of Judah, as Isaiah tells them, hey, continue on the path that you are. Continue on the path of righteousness. Continue on the path of taking down the high places, those places of idol worship, those places that they weren't supposed to do what they were doing there. Continue to go about that. God will take care of the rest. Yes, he used the king of Assyria before, but understand God is for you. And if God is for you, whom can be against you? As Christians, we need to recognize that if God is for me, who can be against me? Does not mean that I'm not going to have persecution. Does not mean that everyone's going to love me. In fact, everyone is not going to love us. Jesus tells us that. He said, hey, they hate me, they're going to hate you. Get used to it. It's how it's going to happen. But what we do know is that God is in control.